This is a 4-minute 49-second full-motion infrared clip attributed to a United States military platform operating within the Central Command Area of Responsibility in 2021. The uploader labeled the file as a spherical UAP encounter with a call sign and a 2021 date, and the clip itself was placed on a classified network in May 2024. In May 2026, the Department of War made this material available under the Pursue Release program following a review of records identified in response to congressional requests. On March 6, 2026, 8 members of the House of Representatives asked for access to 51 potentially UAP-related records allegedly held by the Department of War and the intelligence community, and ARRO identified this collection among materials on a classified system. ARRO also notes that many items in that collection lack a substantiated chain of custody, and that caveat applies to this clip. What you are watching is recorded from an electro-optical sensor operating in the infrared band. Early in the clip, the sensor pans to track an area of contrast, keeping that area generally centered in the field of view for several seconds at a time. For roughly the first minute, the camera stabilizes on that contrast, and the view shifts smoothly as the sensor follows. Later, the sensor pans away from the same area, and the contrast moves toward the edge of the frame as the platform and sensor change bearing. The visual signature in the frame is compact and round, which is why the uploader called it spherical. The clip does not include an audio narration or other overlays identifying range or altitude, and no corroborating motion imagery is appended to this file. ARRO assesses that the imagery is likely derived from a full motion video camera and an infrared sensor aboard a military platform. But the office makes no analytical determination here about the object's origin or capabilities. The record notes the 2021 time frame and the Central Command Area of Responsibility, and beyond that, the clip stands on its own as a short sensor track. For investigators, the most important practical details are provenance and continuity. This file was uploaded to a classified network in May 2024 and became part of a broader set of materials reviewed after the congressional request. The record accompanying the clip flags gaps in custody and documentation, meaning analysts cannot rely on an unbroken chain linking the original capture to the copy released here. That lack of documented custody is a limiting factor for any follow-up study that would try to reconcile sensor metadata with platform logs or other sources. As footage, the clip is useful for showing how an infrared sensor tracks a small, contrasting target while panning. It is notable because it was identified in a targeted review of potentially relevant materials and because it remains tied to a classified repository prior to public disclosure. At the same time, this clip alone does not contain the additional context that would be required to reach a technical conclusion about what produced the observed contrast. The release record emphasizes uncertainty rather than a firm finding. If you are comparing this clip to other entries in the archive, note that its chain of custody concerns are explicitly stated in the release notes, and that ARRO described the likely sensor type and operational area without asserting a cause. That distinction between a sensor track on one hand and an explained or identified object on the other is the practical takeaway for anyone studying military infrared imagery of aviation anomalies. For the full case file, related footage, sighting reports, and our weekly UAP news podcast, visit UAPDrop.com.